Did you ever get told off in school for stuff you did outside of school?
Like as in like in the school grounds or outside school grounds?
Outside of school.
Like what?
So, like, the area where I went to school was like really small.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, I don't know how old I was. I must be like 13, 14.
Yeah.
I was like, there was like a bunch of like ruined castles where I grew up. And one time I was like climbing the wall of this castle.
Yeah.
And a teacher happened to be walking in that park during the
Right.
day.
Right.
And she just saw me. She didn't say anything, but I was just climbing it. I was like having a great time. Probably wasn't the safest thing.
Yeah.
It was quite high up. And then I came into school the next Monday because it was on like a weekend. I got bollocked by the fucking teachers. They told me off. And I was so confused. I was like, this doesn't, it's allowed? It was outside of school. What? And they were telling me off for climbing this wall outside of school. Not even anywhere near school.
I don't think we had anything.
Snitch.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything like that because because the town that I grew up in was like it was small, but it was also quite wide.
Yeah.
So like I don't think I ever saw my teachers outside of school.
Yeah, I mean,
saw that
I was in like Hove and Brighton, so it's, I mean that's like a city, so
Yeah.
I don't think people cared about. Did you guys have did your schools have any rivalries with other schools?
We were attached to another school.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
did
like
you?
a sister school as well. So like the school I went to was the boys' school, and then like at the bottom of the hill there was the girls' school, the sister
right.
school.
We were like physically, our schools were physically attached.
Oh no, we didn't have that.
but they were different schools.
Yeah, so you could walk into the other school from our school.
That just sounds like a bad time.
So-
That sounds like
That just sounds like fights. galore.
Yeah, they did.
were there a lot of fights that happened?
There was like the corridor where like the walls were like different colors. Like there was a weird line, right? So that's where like if shit went down, it was always like at this like it was like the DMZ in like North Korea. It was like
Oh my God, standing on the border.
it was like shit went down. So the reason why this weird like it sounds really bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were a Welsh speaking school and we were really small, and the
Yeah.
one we were attached to was a massive English speaking, really fucking big English speaking school. Because our school was too small and like poor to have our own like sports facilities.
Right.
So that school also had this massive sports like kind of complex attached to it. Swimming
Right.
pool, tennis, like massive sports halls, astroturf, massive fields, tennis courts, everything, right?
Yeah.
It had everything, like rugby pitches, literally everything. And so our school would basically share the facilities with them.
Right.
So whenever we needed to go to use the pool or anything, we always walked through this school.
Right.
Yeah.
And went there. So we could walk through their school, but they couldn't walk through our school. Because our school was like, on the edge.
Why?
Right.
Why would the like? I'm just imagining like the architect of that building just being
Yeah.
like, "This is gonna be hilarious."
It's weird, yeah, it's weird because like,
They just wanted to make a fight club
Yeah.
between kids because
was,
of
yeah.
course kids are gonna fucking fight each other.
and there was
right?
there was that corridor, and there was two outside gates that also connected that were pretty big.
Oh
so
my
whenever it was
God.
like snow or anything as well,
Yeah.
that would turn into like the fighting zone.
yeah.
I just remember the story of like going back to the teachers getting angry outside of the school grounds. Did you guys ever used to do like PE activities outside of school?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
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 you'd
yeah,
go
yeah.
to another place.
So like one of the ones that we did quite often was because our school was right next to a beach. We did a lot of like ocean kayaking, which was like really fun, right? Like you just like two or three boys at a time get on a
Sounds
kayak.
dangerous, though.
You know? Oh yeah, it was very dangerous. But
Damn, a kayak. He got a kayak. He got
Yeah.
to do
We
kayaking.
I got to go kayaking.
You guys got to go kayaking?
Yeah, and sailing.
What the fuck? What, sailing?
yeah, we had sailing as well.
I learned how to sail.
God, I'm so jealous.
But like, I remember there was
I got a good
one
story for that.
There was one moment in kayaking. It's such a bad story, but there was like because we were on Manly Beach, and on one of the beaches, because it's like a bay basically, so it's surrounded by these cliffs, and there's a lot of like really like pristine like penthouses that are like kind of overlooking the bay. If you like kind of look up at the cliffs, there was this one time where we were just kayaking along the bay. And then one of the boys was like, "Oi, check it out!" I'm like, "What?" And we look up, and there's just like a chick standing like in a bikini, just like looking down at us.
Right.
And she was a very attractive lady, right? And we were like in 11th grade, so we were like
Let's commit
17,
misogyny.
18, stuff like that. Yeah. So basically,
I'm about to commit misogyny.
So one of the kids was like,
Sorry, I know what he's gonna say.
so one of the boys just starts going, tits out for the boys, tits out for the boys, tits out for the boys. And
that
then
sounds
Kids
like
are
the
the
most
worst.
Australian
Kids are
fucking.
the
and then,
worst.
Yeah.
and then a couple of the other boys start joining along. Tits out for the boys, and then before you know it, there's like 15 kayaks, like 30 boys in this bay,
my
just
God.
all going tits out for the boys, tits out for the boys.
The Thunderdome.
It was like a scene out of Mad Max. It was fucking crazy. And then, of course, the girl flashes. Everyone goes, yeah!
You did it?
Oh my god!
And the teacher, and of course, the teacher we had that day was a female teacher. She was like, "What the fuck are you boys doing?" And we just bolt in our kayaks, just like get away from the teacher. We got absolutely rinsed
That
at
is
the end of
the
it.
most teenage Australian boy story
Oh,
I've
it
ever
was
heard.
Only boys in
Yeah,
this.
yeah. This is
They
what
say
happens
women
in a
are like,
boy-only
tits,
school.
Tits?
Tits. Yeah, that was. I just remember that for some reason.
How Joey didn't turn into r/nice guys. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. Joey could have.
I hate to
Oh
admit,
my
I did
God.
join in the
Oh
chant.
my
Oh
god!
my god.
Just from peer pressure.
Joey
but
committed misogyny.
I
He's
committed
turned around.
misogyny. I'm sorry.
They didn't let you do anything like that?
No, I mean, like, I wouldn't trust a kid out in the sea. I'm surprised. I'm surprised how
So-
other people did.
We got to go to little areas in Wales that were like kind of like camps for like 3-4 days. And they were basically like, they would be like, listen, boys, we can do kayaking or you can do sailing. Problem is we only got 6 sailboats and we've got everyone else can do kayaking, like 30
Yeah.
kids. And I was like, well, shit, I want to, even though I didn't really like sailing, I didn't know anything about it. I was like, well, that's the one that has less. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I put my hand up to do it, and somehow I got chosen to do it. I did sailing. I fucking loved it. It was amazing. But they gave us those like, boat plastic, like really cheap boat plastic, the one where you like knock it and it sounds hollow. And it's like, it's really, It's really coarse as well. Like it's basically like a boat that was a shell of plastic with a what's it called? Is it a hull? What's the thing that goes through the bottom? Not a rudder. It's
Sail.
it goes in the bottom.
I have no idea.
I don't remember.
I forgot what it's called. So you just have this slab of plastic you put in to allow you to sail, basically.
Yeah.
And then we learned how to sail, and it was great. And it was really good because, like,
Talking about the mast.
the mast.
The mast.
No.
I've never sailed before in my life.
Mast
so
was
I have
this
no
mast
idea.
was at the front, and then it was one where you turn it, and then in the bottom, underneath the water, you slide in a thing. Not the rudder.
Not the rudder. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
It's a sailboat. So you didn't do the direction with you did the direction with the sail, not the
Like you'd pull on the sail.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
pull
like
on the
that,
sail.
right? Yeah, yeah.
You lean. It's
Yeah.
like, so it was really cool because like you'd be doing that badass shit. Like you'd be leaning.
Yeah.
Half the boat would be out the water.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
holding
yeah,
onto
yeah,
the
yeah.
sail. Dude, it was so fucking
You're
cool.
like
I loved it.
horizontal on
Just
the water.
drifting. You just drifting.
Dude, like legit.
Was it the keel?
Maybe, I don't know. Either way, so and then you would be taught like, okay, let's say you flip your boat. Here's how you jump out the boat, jump on the piece of plastic outside the boat, push it down, jump
Yeah.
back in the boat, and get it back
Right,
in.
right, right,
So fucking cool. I loved it so much. I got really good at it. And then the head guy was like, you know what? Every year or so, there's a kid who gets really good at sailing, and I let him try the real boat, and I'm like, oh shit, really? And then so he like out of this like really gross looking shed in the water. It was one of those sheds that was like
Right.
kind of there's no floor.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just for the boat.
Yeah.
He pulls out this massive catamaran. Massive.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, I've been in this like one person boat.
Yeah.
This thing could easily fit like 4 to
Yeah,
6
yeah.
people on it, right? He's like, go take it out for a spin. And I'm like, this looks fucking scary.
What did he say? Like the rich uncle who owns a Ferrari.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
let's
right.
take it
He
out
was
for a
like,
spin,
let's
boys.
take it out for a
It
spin.
felt like the sword in the stone test. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Let's see if you can handle this one, right? So I start taking this thing out. It's going well. I'm
Yeah.
managing it. It's a lot harder. You have to run. You have to like get across way more, a lot more, really full body because you got to really like get underneath.
Put your body
Yeah.
weight.
You really
in it,
got to
yeah.
like throw yourself around on this thing to
Yeah.
steer it. It's going well. It's going well. Suddenly, we get a big gust of wind, and I'm trying my goddamn best to save this. I'm trying my best. I get to the side. I'm trying to unleash the mast so that we can get the boat back down.
Right.
Unfortunately, the boat just keeps going. It keeps going, and then it does it. It gets sideways
Right,
completely.
right.
From this point now, this boat is too heavy. Unlike the other boat, where my body weight could shift it back.
Yeah.
My body weight can't do shit.
Yeah.
And it is literally like the sinking boat, like Titanic. It is just like I'm sitting on the top of the boat, like at the top of the thing, just
slowly going down.
Until it gets to about the halfway point where it won't sink anymore.
Right.
Luckily. So I'm just sitting there, and then he comes over disappointingly in like the speedboat, and he's like, I see. He's like, well, he's like,
You want the chosen
are not
one.
the one.
You
yeah,
are
he's
not the
like,
one.
he's like, I see. He's like, well, at least help me tie the rope around this part, and I'll tip it back over. And then he got on the boat, and he was like, I'll show you how to drive it. And I was like, I let him down. He sailed it back, and then I was like a disappointment, and I was never allowed to try it again.
Wow.
There was a fucking. I felt like that was a look in hindsight. I was like, that
feel
was ridiculous.
I feel like
Yeah.
that was a big step
That's
up.
a big jump.
It was
yeah.
alone as well. With the catamaran, you can normally have like 2 people on.
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's the big one with the big net. You know
Yeah,
what it is,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's ridiculous. It wasn't like a full-sized massive one. It was like
Yeah.
a smaller version, but still, it was like.
I'm so jealous. I never got to do that in my school, and we live on a fucking. We live in
Yeah,
Brighton.
You live in Brighton.
Yeah,
Why,
yeah.
Why? Like not
Well, it
even
was
kayaking?
it was in a lake and a river, so
Oh,
it's a
okay,
lot
okay.
easier. It was a really big lake, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to do that in the ocean.
In the I was
No,
I was-
no,
I was
that's
like-
dangerous.
You get
yeah.
swept fucking away. In this lake, you would just get hypothermia. That's about it.
No biggie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any like big lakes near us, so we didn't really do any water sports. I think the most we did was just we had like a swimming pool, a local
In the
swimming
UK,
pool.
What do you mean? There's lakes everywhere.
I know. I mean, we not like how far did you need to drive to get to this lake?
2-3 hours.
You drive 2-3 hours just for this
That's
one?
like the entirety of Wales.
that's like a fucking school trip for us.
It was. It
Oh,
was. Yeah,
oh.
it was a 3-day weekend school trip.
Oh, you made it sound like it was one
Yeah,
afternoon.
yeah, yeah,
what?
you made
No,
it sound
no.
like, oh yeah, we this is for this one lesson in
No,
PE.
I said 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4 days.
Oh,
Okay, so-
no, because like the kayaking thing for us was just like down the
Oh
road.
no! It's like so. There's like areas in the. I'm pretty sure it's funded by the Welsh government. Basically, every Welsh school gets like a weekend there.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So everyone gets to have turns. So these like they're like really
okay.
fucked up.
Okay,
and,
that
like-
makes more sense.
So like there's like a it's kind of like a thing you go. It's like hey, try a bunch of different sports. Try kayaking. Try canoeing. Try sailing. Wall climbing. Like everything. Just try a bit of everything
yeah.
and see what you like. And so it was really fun. And I'm glad I got to do it. I wish I kept up with sailing, but unfortunately, sailing is a very luxury sport to be able to do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like, oh yeah, you can just go sailing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It sucks really, because I feel like there's so many sports out there that I could have fell in love with, but the financial stability of, I guess that's most.
The absolute
course.
economical state.
That was me. That was me.
every
in-
sport ever for
Yeah.
everyone, right?
I mean, that's
exactly.
like that was like me in skiing and snowboarding. That's why I never was
Yeah.
able to get into it because my family unfortunately could never afford to go on a skiing or snowboarding trip.
It's either not enough money, not enough space, or both.
Yes.
Well, I'd love to. I've been skiing and snowboarding like the majority of my life, and I would love to own a snowboard or skis, but it is an absolute nightmare
Yeah.
to deal with transporting it
Yeah,
and taking
yeah.
it everywhere. And I also, it's really expensive.
It is expensive, yeah.
I know that you can ship it from hotel to like.
God, you sound like you had such like fun school trips.
Well,
Like
yeah, to
you
be
went
fair,
to like America for a school trip.
Yeah.
And like you
Yeah,
go fucking,
that's fucking crazy to me.
Well, that was insane. That was like the first year they did that.
Yeah.
And that was really expensive as well. I remember I had to like beg my parents, and they were like,
Because our school wasn't that rich. Like, I think the richest thing that our school did for the rugby team, because we
Yeah.
like excelled in sports at our school, was like the senior rugby team was allowed to go to like play rugby in Europe for like.
Oh, wow.
wow.
Yeah, but like that was only like the select, like maybe like top 20 people who were like
Yeah.
good at rugby.
I can't even remember what we did for our school trips. There must not.
The rest of the time we
I-
just went to like the local water silo.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like-
Something boring.
I don't know if this is just because like it's a really small place, but I imagine that when you're in a city, it probably feels like less inclined to get you out of the city. Whereas
Right,
when
right.
you're in the countryside, there's nothing, right? So I feel like they had way more pressure to
Yeah.
try and get you to do something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Especially because, in at least sport, in Wales, like sports is like a massive deal. It's a
Yeah.
very important part of like the culture, and doing sports is seen as a very, very, like you have to do it. Not, doesn't matter what you do, just do sports. Like it
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
a thing you got to do. So, there was a really big incentive for them to make us go and do sports and go on sports
Yeah.
trips and do
I
all
think
this
the
kind of
furthest
stuff.
we ever went in a school trip or anything was like during like school camps.
Yeah.
But that we did every year, and that was like maybe like 4 or 5 hours away,
Yeah.
which in the grander scheme of Australia is not far at all. But like, yeah, I don't remember like going on like school excursions going further than like an hour away.
Yeah, I mean, I think the furthest I ever went for a school trip was like France. because every school trip goes to France
I can see.
for like.
Well,
it's-
you're in Brighton. It's
Yeah.
fucking
yeah,
easy.
exactly.
Yeah, at least
So
you
it's just-
fucking Europeans got to go to other countries. That was not in it for
Well,
us.
yeah. Other countries are like don't exist.
Yeah.
Australia.
It's like, oh, what's the closest country? Papua New Guinea. How far away is that? Like a 3-hour plane ride. It's like,
Like
cool.
your own country is like far away from your own
Yeah,
country. You
we
know?
we didn't even get to go to the other states. Like, no, that's too far. God forbid, we're gonna be on a plane for an hour and a half. No, of course not.
You probably had better school facilities though than we had. We got to go on a trip and they were like, yeah, just forget about the fact that you have to share a chair.
I mean, even then it was like, you know, like school camp, for example. It was like, yeah, I guess, you know, everyone got their own seat on the bus or whatever, but like that was the most we got.
We got that.
They got your own seat on the bus. What privilege.
Yeah.